series. So like that's pretty cool.
The lighting and shit. It's crazy. All right, so we're gonna get going here. Make sure I got everything plugged in. I just restarted this computer, so we should be good to go.
Sweet.
All right, my mic. All right, I need to get a clap here. All right, how we doing, Weird Science? This is Brandon and Trevitt, and we're coming at you guys with this week's edition of the Marvel Minute. So, with that being said, we had a small little dilemma on our hands this week. Partially some of it being my fault because I keep fucking forgetting to set this vote for longer than like 24 hours sometimes, and like my ADD kicks in when I'm creating the poll, and I just overlook that aspect of it. So this tied with, what did it tie with? Generation X?
Yeah, Generation X.
Yeah. So me and Trevitt, after some careful consideration, decided to do Luke Cage for pretty much our brains health. And if you're interested, we will tell you later on how to hear about Generation X, if that's something you want to hear us talk about. But anyway, Trevitt, how we doing, man?
Pretty good. A good brunch.
Yeah, some good looking girls there.
Oh yeah,
from what I hear. Anyway, we're here to talk about Luke Cage. This is a David F. Walker created content. He's our writer. Art team, Nelson Blake the second, and Marcio Menez. So that's the creative team on this book. Marvel Comics publication, obviously. So we're going to get into the blurb, talk a little bit about what went on here in the pages of this book, and let you know how we feel about it. Let's see here. Where's my blurb? There it is. I guess the Defenders launching on Netflix later this year. Let me start that over. I guess with the Defenders launching on Netflix later this year, Marvel wanted to rebrand a few comics to highlight the fast approaching team up. So Iron Fist and Power Man was canceled and split into 2 books, with the Luke Cage #1 dropping this week. Join us as we discuss Marvel's Power Man, as we dive into yet another #1 issue that focuses on Luke Cage and how your past sometimes never leaves you alone. So we're going to discuss this book. You saw the Iron Man. God damn it. I'm going to keep doing that. You saw the Luke Cage series, yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah.
That's what I meant to say. I don't know why I keep saying Iron Man.
I watched it all in one sitting.
Yeah. So, did you like it, or?
Yeah, I liked it for the most part.
Yeah,
I liked
was
it.
Probably
it was pretty
good. Behind Daredevil, I would say probably my second favorite of the Netflix things.
Yeah, mine too.
And right away off the bat with the cover of this issue, it kind of looks like they're trying to grab some of that Netflix attention.
Yeah, he's wearing the hoodie and the t-shirt.
Yeah, just very almost like a picture from the show. Punching through a wall, going after some dude with a gun. And we were just talking about before we got started how the I don't know, it's obviously drawn. We mentioned that it's a drawing, but like the colors and shit just really make it look real. So it's an attention grabbing cover off the bat. So if anybody picked it up for that reason, we understand.
It's like a picture.
Yeah, it really does. Even like the reflection of the guns and stuff. So you might get a sense of that's the message Marvel's trying to put out with these individual now Luke Cage and Iron Fist comics that they're going with. So anyway, enough about the cover. We're going to get into our book here, and the issue starts with Luke kind of just calmly walking through, what is this, like a bar or a secret like gambling joint or something?
Yeah, I think it's a bar where, because maybe like a speakeasy type of place.
Yeah, he's got one of those password doors he has to enter through.
Yeah, it has the slide in the front. And the guy with the shotgun by the door.
Yeah. But this, despite the fact this dude's got a shotgun or whatever, he just lets Luke stroll in. He seems to know these people and know this place you know, been here before kind of thing. And he just kind of starts strolling, pays this lady off at the bar for the damage he's going to cause, and starts strolling to the basement. It looks like.
Yeah. Which is, I love it. He gives her the money. Like, this will cover the damages. That's probably going to happen.
Yeah. So he starts, you know, working his way through people on the way to the basement. Has really no problem getting rid of these dudes in the narrations. Kind of just going through, summing up Power Man. I'm gonna have to get that straight. Power Man's abilities. If you're new to the character, kind of.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Him like talking about how he can feel the bullets just because like his skin's impenetrable. He still like feels the hit. You know?
Right. Yeah, he does it all for like intimidation, because, you know, even though it hurts, it's still, when you approach these bad guys with a bullet torn shirt and really no blood or physical evidence of being hurt, it scares the piss out of them. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. Like,
so that's really what he's going for, and he mentions that, and he quickly enters this like basement room where this kidnapping is going down that he's been hired to stop. The bad guy, you know, talks some shit to Luke Cage, and Luke Cage basically like tricks him through conversation to get close, and just kind of flick the dude in the head.
Yeah.
And that's how he deals with him. Knocks him out by, like, you would flick your buddy's ear, but like right in the middle of the forehead. And that's how he handles this dude.
He goes flying back too. It was pretty slick how he got close to him. That like, oh, $5,000, that's all you want? Like, I would have just paid you $5,000. We didn't have to go through all this.
Yeah, he's like, you're gonna do kidnapping and murder for $5,000? He's like, that's really, you should have probably asked for more. Anyway, you know, he deals with the guy by flicking him, rescues this girl. And this girl basically finds out her boyfriend's just a piece of shit, which is why she was kidnapped in the first place, despite the fact he said he loved her.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say he skipped out with the money, right? Like, he owed these guys money, and he just bounced. Like, screw her.
Instead of paying these dudes off, her boyfriend took off. So they kidnapped this girl to get some money. It's all really just kind of an introduction way to get you familiar with Luke Cage, and you see his powers at work and stuff like that. But the way it's drawn and the way it looks and the way it goes down is pretty cool. It's a lot like we said in the beginning, a little like kind of the first fight scene where he's walking through. What was he walking through in the TV show? Just kind of dealing with dudes, kind of like a warehouse basement thing.
I think so. Yeah, it was one of their famous hallway scenes, and it's drawn just like it. It really does look like it.
Yeah, so it comes off that way. He returns this girl to her family. You know, they thank Luke, and as he's walking away, he gets a phone call. And I got to look at my notes here, because we start throwing around a bunch of names here that I have to keep straight in order to, you know, let you guys know what's going on here. He gets a phone call saying, excuse me, Dr. Noah Bernstein is dead. And that this is the guy that gave Luke his powers while he was in prison, basically, through those experiments. I always kind of thought that was like he was an unwilling. I guess I don't remember. I got to watch it again. Did he volunteer for this?
Yeah, he volunteered for it.
I watched it. I don't know. I have a kid hanging on me when I'm trying to watch things sometimes, and then I don't
plus
remember.
we take in so much stuff over time. Eventually, you just forget details. Like, it happens. But then when you watch it, it's like you remember it. Like, oh, I remember this.
How did I forget that shit?
Yeah.
So this Dr. Noah Bernstein is dead, and you know, Luke had a good relationship with him. This was the guy again that gave Luke his powers. So he heads off to New Orleans to attend the doctor's funeral. This is where he gets approached by another doctor, Dr. Lenore Mornay. Pretty good Cajun name there, I guess. Lenore is basically, you know, filling Luke in on some events that she wants him informed about, and kind of goes about things the long way to eventually come to just spitting out, hey, I don't think this dude killed himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's this whole course of events that occur that she takes Luke through before we get to that point, though. They're leaving the cemetery together, and there's this ominous figure also, you know, keeping an eye on the situation. We don't know who that is yet.
No, I didn't even have a guess when I was reading the book of who that might be.
Yeah, I've read some of the Power Man and Iron Fist series that was put out last year, 2016 or so, and that wasn't, anybody that from a silhouette that was in that book that I could point out. So yeah, that's kind of just like, shot in the dark. If you knew it, good for you. The first place they go is this Morgan estate. So he's still with Dr. Lenore. They go to this Morgan estate where Luke gets filled in about some other experiments Dr. Bernstein was conducting. And this is all new news to him, correct? Am I reading that right?
Yeah, it's all news to
him. He basically finds out this gentleman's son that he's talking to was pretty much cured of what looks like kind of like degenerative disease. From the picture, it looks like he kind of had cerebral palsy, but something worse,
Or like Lou Gehrig's disease, where you like lose control over all your body.
Yeah, like there was no hope for him. He was just going to waste away and die until this Dr. Bernstein ended up kind of using something a little like what he gave Luke to save this guy.
Yeah, the super soldier. I think because he was trying to recreate Captain America's super soldier serum.
Yeah, and ended up developing a different drug and a process, different process along the way, which cured this dude's disease. Didn't give him powers though, like Luke, right?
No, I don't think so. They didn't
basically like reversed his body, so he was fine.
Yeah.
So this is all being explained to Luke, and then they just, decide to leave this house, which is weird. I just don't understand. Like she just takes him here so randomly, I guess, and wants him to know this. And I don't understand the reason. It kind of comes out of nowhere.
It does seem to go through extreme lengths just to prove that the whole point of this was to prove that it wasn't a suicide, like why would he do this to himself when he made such strides with where he was going? But it does seem like way elaborate for just an explanation.
Like at no point until towards the end of the story does she even let Luke know that she has this thought. So like along the way, she's just feeding him these little bits of information before she drops this bomb on him, so that he believes her, I guess, when she finally says it, which is all a weird way to do things, which makes me think she's not totally up to snuff all the way. You know what I'm saying? She's an evil.
And then
chick.
In the midst of all that, towards leaving, they get into, you don't realize it at the time, but other people that I guess are like Luke, Yeah.
Yeah, this is where they're driving along again. I don't know where they're going this time. Do they have a destination in mind, or they're just leaving the house?
I think they're leaving the house. I think she's taking Luke back to like his hotel room.
Okay. Do you think this dude at the house has hired these goons to take him out? That's
what I was thinking that. Like,
did you? Yeah.
He seemed a little weird. Like he seemed a little fishy to me.
His eyes were like he had crazy eyes going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, so while Luke and Dr. Lenore are just chatting it up in the car, this is the point in time where she drops the bomb about the suicide. And also they start randomly discussing some dude named Mitchell Tanner, which will play a role later, but it is just it was again another forced like thing into the story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was.
Anyway, their car gets run off the road by this goon squad. We don't get names for any of them, do we?
No names.
Yeah.
I find it kind of a coincidence that they're leaving this house and then all of a sudden these dudes show up.
Yeah. And this one guy, he's got like a Cobra Commander mask on. The other two have hooded masks, and him and Luke, Cobra Commander and Luke, get into a fight.
Cobra Commander.
So
it does look like Cobra
Commander.
Yeah.
So as Luke's fighting Cobra Commander, they're going back and forth, and he realizes this dude's strong as fuck. Like he's punching Luke, and Luke goes flying. Luke punches him back, he goes flying.
Those action scenes look awesome too.
Yeah. And then he pulls out this sword. One of his goon squad give him a sword.
Yeah,
and he starts
knocks him into the car.
Yeah, he starts swinging this sword around. It's like a sword whip.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a chain sword or something. Like it turns into a solid sword, and then when he swings it, could be like a razor sharp whip. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. And Luke's usually not like concerned with this type of weaponry or any really weapons at all, because obviously his skin's bulletproof and fucking he can't be hurt that way. But this sword is like slicing and dicing him up.
Which makes me think it has something like to do with his backstory and Mitchell Tanner and, you know, all that. Like these guys, like it's not a coincidence. Like they know about him. They know how to cut his skin. You know what I mean? Like he has that weapon specifically, probably.
For Luke. Yeah. Like they've been tracking Luke, and they knew they would need this specific weapon to take him on. While Luke and this dude are fighting, the goon squad kidnapped Dr. Lenore. And Luke's, you know, kind of getting ready to be killed. The dude, Cobra Commander, has the whip up above his head, ready to deliver a final blow. And he gets saved at the last moment by this, I don't know, this Beretta looks like it comes pulling up out of nowhere. And this dude comes out firing weapons. We still don't know who it is. He chases the bad guys off. Does he kill any of them, or do they all end up getting in the car?
I think they all get in the car. He doesn't kill any of them.
He bends down to help Luke, and Luke is like, Mitchell Tanner.
While he's talking to him, you know, because he's saying mess with my family, you know, and all that. He's like, they can mess with me, mess with us.
Right. So Mitchell and Luke have kind of a bond here. That is the sense you get as the book wraps up, because that's our cliffhanger there. Look into Mitchell Tanner, because I had absolutely no idea who this dude was, who they name dropped, you know, a few pages before he actually showed up, which was, again, kind of weird. It turns out he was the dude watching them from the cemetery in the beginning of the book that they hinted at. And I found out that he was just, you know, another dude that Dr. Bernstein put through the same process basically as Luke. I think he went first.
Yeah.
He went first, though.
That's why he calls him little brother, because he's earlier an experiment.
Yeah. And the results that happened to this Mitchell dude was, you know, he ended up turning into like a granite type skin. So that's why he's like shaded blue. And he's got like strength like Luke. And I guess he's kind of like supposed to be a marksman. That's why I asked you if he killed these dudes, because he's fucking, maybe he's a little out of practice there, because I don't think he killed anybody for being a marksman right there. He didn't even hit the tire on the goddamn car on the way out. So
maybe he missed them on purpose or something.
Yeah, maybe it's all a ploy. But yeah, he's supposed to be like one of the side effects that they mention of this process Bernstein has been using is people become mentally unstable. Some of them do also have super strength, so that can, you know, obviously lead to problems.
And he's one of the mentally unstable ones too, right?
Tanner?
That's what they were talking about. Yeah, that when they were mentioning him before, she was talking about the side effects when they were in the car, and she was, you know, talking about, and that's why he came up, because he was one of the notable people with the side effects. I think because he was the first one. So,
so it feels like what happened here is the doctor on his first attempt didn't nail it exactly, and people were turning crazy after going through it, on top of having like granite skin, which probably isn't, you know, ideal. Granite colored. I mean, that's basically what Luke has, you know, but he still has his skin tone. You know, this dude turned into literally granite. So Luke, he perfected the process, I guess, with Luke, and then he fucked it up again when he was curing people of diseases. So I guess that's what we're dealing with here, because those people are going crazy too. That's what they mentioned as well.
Yeah, I'm figuring that Mitchell Tanner heard about the doctor dying, and went to the funeral, and then saw Luke there and followed him.
Yeah,
and then he got into this shit.
Yeah, that all makes a little more sense. So yeah, you guys know how we do it. We tell you to buy it, to borrow it, or to forget it altogether. Trevitt decided to go with Luke Cage here. He was our vote breaker, so we'll let Trevitt tell you first whether to buy, borrow, or forget, and then I'll let you know what I think here. So go ahead, Trevitt.
All right. I really enjoyed this book. I didn't have high expectations whatsoever. The only last Luke Cage series I saw was called Cage, and like Brandon was saying before we started recording, it looked like a blaxploitation movie, and I just didn't vibe with me. So like, I thought this was going to be like, I don't know, more of the same, or just like not, just not great like that series was. But I usually like David F. Walker stuff, and I was hoping for good art. I didn't know I was going to get as good of art as we got here, which kind of is like a mix between like maybe like a Sarah Pacelli or like close to like a David Marquez, but more just like a Sarah Pacelli. I think it looks like it's really clean, really awesome.
Yeah,
I love the hallway scene. I love the way it was drawn. Looked great.
yeah, that was cool.
I mean, I like the story so far so much. Like it's pretty cool. I figured it out as going along. And it really depends on what the next couple of issues are going to be before I have like a solid thing. But I think this was a really cool first issue. I got hooked into the story, had really great art. It's a buy for me, and I bought it reluctantly, but I was very glad that I did after I read it.
Yeah, that when you're going through the comic store and you see a cover like that, it's like, oh, all right, I might as well give it a shot.
Yeah, it was the cover that got me.
You get one of those feelings. Yeah,
the cover got me, and then I flipped through it, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, I liked the art as well. I thought it was a cool looking book, definitely. I wish they would give like art that they're giving a book like Luke Cage and some of like their more higher profile books like Avengers. Like, what's wrong with giving this art to a book like Avengers? Because the series that normally you take the chances with, like a Luke Cage series, would be the more adventurous art. And not that I want this art to change on this book, because I don't, but it's just weird how they assign artists to books lately.
Yeah, it is weird. This would be perfect.
That has really nothing to do with this issue, because I love the art. Like we said, the cover looks amazing. And the writing was a little weird at some points as far as like the information they're feeding you and the order it was distributed in. But I guess that was just the way the first issue was set up. So you do really get everything you need to follow a story and figure out at this point if it's something you're in on or out of. You know what I'm saying? But overall, like that, just for me, like the hook isn't really there. I don't know. Like it was interesting, but I'm personally, it's not really for me. I'm going to keep checking it out though, to kind of see where the mystery goes. But normally it's not something I would spend a lot of money on, or invest in. The whole like Mitchell Tanner reveal at the end kind of like isn't the hook that I was expecting, and not like something that really would normally get me to probably buy issue 2. But I don't know, like the art and the future covers and David Walker, who usually, like you said, does good stuff. And things I've read, I've enjoyed. He does, and Jim liked, what was it? Nighthawk.
Yeah.
Is that the so overall it's a borrow for me, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm gonna keep checking it out and see where it goes, but I don't know. I just have like a weird feeling about it, like not like I'm all in on it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it.
I hope we meet more people from the experiments as we like go along on this.
See, that's the thing that I like about the book. Like, I think I'm like double talking here, because I do like learning more about like the history of Luke Cage, and that's cool. Like his past is cool, and it's the reveals about it are what's interesting. But like just the way, I guess, we're finding it out in the way that it's told so far. It's just weird, I guess, to me. So I don't know. I'm not explaining it right. I'm having trouble getting my words out today, but that's
we're gonna
it.
see more flashbacks too. So
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
I just like, I don't understand kind of like the new way of the cure working, I guess, and where and how this all adds up right now. So hopefully that'll be revealed in issue 2, and we'll get a better sense of where this is going and what's happening. But that's it for this week. If you guys are looking for me and Trevitt, you can always find us on Twitter. I'm at BMur3660. Trevitt, where are you at?
I'm at Afro Addict.
And then, like I said, if you guys are interested at all in hearing us talk a little more Marvel, we along with Carl, have started a little Marvel Madness podcast. So those 3 books usually that we put up on the vote are a lot of times the books that we talk about on that, quick little hour show about buy, borrow, or forget those books all together, So if that's something you're interested in checking out, it's called Marvel Madness Comics Podcast. Type that into any of those podcast catchers and you'll see that there. But that's it for us this week. You can find us there. Check us out. But party's over on this end, and we will holler at you next week. Adios, guys.
Peace.